Santa is Coming to Virginia, written by Steve Smallman, illustrated by Robert Dunn and Jim Mitchell. Well, boomed Santa, have all the children from Virginia been good this year? Well, mostly, answered the little old elf as he hustled and bustled across the busy workshop to Santa's desk. Santa peered down at the elf from behind the tall, teetering piles of letters that the children of Virginia had sent him. Mostly, asked Santa, looking over the top of his glasses. Yes, but they've all been especially good in the last few days, said the elf. Jolly good, chuckled Santa. Then we'd better get their presents loaded up. Even though the sack of presents was really, really big and the elves were really, really small, they seemed to have no trouble loading it onto Santa's sleigh. Though how they managed to fit such a big sack onto one little sleigh, even they didn't know, but somehow they did. Splendid, boomed Santa. We're ready to go. Well, not quite, Santa, said the little old elf. One of our reindeer is missing. Missing? Which reindeer is missing? Asked Santa. The youngest one, Santa, said the elf. It's his first flight tonight, and I've called him, but... Just then the young reindeer strolled up, munching on one large carrot. Where have you been? Asked Santa. But the youngest reindeer was crunching so loudly that it was no wonder he hadn't heard the little old elf calling. Oh, well, never mind, said Santa, giving the reindeer a little wink. He took out his Santa nav and tapped in the coordinates to Virginia. This will guide us to Virginia in no time. Crunch, crunch, crunch. With a flick of the reins and a jerk of the harness, off they went, racing through the sky. Ho, 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 laughed Santa. Well, soon we'll have these presents delivered to Old Dominion. Santa's sleigh flew through the starry night, leading south across the Arctic Ocean. On they flew in the wintry air, crossing over Canada. In the wink of an eye, the sleigh was flying above New England and on towards Virginia. The youngest reindeer was very excited. He had never been away from the North Pole before. They were just crossing over the Chesapeake Bay when suddenly they ran into a blizzard. Snowflakes whirled across the sleigh. They couldn't see a thing. The youngest reindeer was getting a bit worried, but Santa didn't seem concerned. In 2 miles, said the Santa nav, in a bossy lady's voice, keep left at the next star. But ma'am, Santa blustered, I can't see any stars in all this snow. Soon they were hopelessly lost. Ding dong, ding dong. Then, through the howling blizzard, the youngest reindeer heard a faint ringing sound. Ding dong. He looked over at the old reindeer with the red nose, but he had his head down. Ding dong, ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong. There was that sound again, like church bells ringing. The youngest reindeer turned around to look at Santa, but Santa wasn't listening. He seemed to be arguing with a little box with buttons on it. With a flick of the harness and a jerk of the reins, the youngest reindeer gave a sharp tug and headed off towards the sound of the bells pulling Santa and his sleigh behind him. Whoa, cried Santa, pulling his hat straight. What's going on? Then, to his surprise, he heard the ringing sound. "Well done, young reindeer," he shouted cheerfully. "It must be the bells of the Carillon in Richmond's Bird Park. Don't worry, children, Santa is coming." Then suddenly, crunch! The sleigh hit something as it plummeted through the snow clouds. "You have arrived," said the Santa Nav unhelpfully. Finally, when the snow had died down, the clouds parted, Santa discovered exactly where they were. Stuck right at the very top of the Virginia state capitol. "Everybody pull!" The reindeer pulled with all their might until at last, with a screeching noise, the sleigh scraped clear of the state capitol building. Santa steered them safely past the Virginia War Memorial, along the James River, over the children's farm, and down into Maymount Park. Luckily, there was no real damage done, but the packages had all been jumbled up. Santa quickly sorted out the presents in order again. "All right," said Santa. "Thanks to this young reindeer, I know where we are now. Don't worry, children. Santa is coming." Santa drove his sleigh expertly from the rooftop to rooftop all over Virginia, popping in and out of chimneys as fast as he could. There were big chimneys in Fairfax and small chimneys in Virginia Beach. He squeezed down thin chimneys in Stafford and plummeted down fat chimneys in Arlington. The youngest reindeer was amazed at how quickly they went. Santa never seemed to get tired at all, and it looked like the children in Virginia were going to be very lucky this year, but the youngest reindeer was starting to feel a bit weary and quite hungry too. In house after house, Santa delved inside his sack for packages of every shape and size. He piled them under the Christmas trees and carefully filled up the stockings with surprises. In house after house, the good children of Virginia had left out a large plate of cookies and a small glass of milk and a big, crunchy carrot. Santa took a little bite out of each cookie and a tiny sip of milk, wiped his beard, and popped the carrots into his sack. From Rose Hill to Roanoke, from Suffolk to Norfolk, from Williamsburg to Harrisonburg, and all the places in between, Santa in his sleigh visited every house in Virginia. Santa delivered presents to Allison, Andrew, Anna, Arabella, Archie, Ashley. The list went on and on. Zach, Zara, Zay, Zoe, Sybil, and finally Santa had delivered the last present on his long Virginia list. "Great moons and stars," sighed Santa. "It's past midnight and my sack seems as heavy as ever. I hope I haven't forgotten anyone." Santa opened his sack to check, but it was full of juicy, crunchy carrots. So Santa divided the carrots amongst all the reindeer. "Well done," he said, patting the youngest reindeer gently on the nose. But the youngest reindeer didn't hear him. He was too busy crunching. Then it was time to set off for home. Santa reset his Santa Nav once more to the North Pole, and soon they were speeding over the Cumberland Gap above the Appalachia, past Shenandoah National Park, and out over Washington, D.C., through the crisp, starry night. "Ho, ho, ho," laughed Santa. "Merry Christmas, Virginia."